What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 546. I am your host, Steve V, alongside Lincoln. How you doing, Lincoln?
Hello from New York City. We're doing good. How are you doing?
I'm really good. Hello from Los Angeles, California.
Yay.
Yay. And joining us, of course, Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm living lavishly in New York City, too. I'm just down the street. Yay.
Nice. You guys just took class. How was class?
Yeah. It was fun.
Nice.
It was fun, but it was hard.
Oh, good. I like hearing that. That's half the fun.
Yeah. I mean, class needs to be hard or it's not worth it. So,
right.
You're not going to get results if it's not.
Effective. It was effective.
Like a nice, easy class.
We're challenging, right? So,
yeah.
There you go. Well, I am in Los Angeles visiting a friend here for the week, but I just left Las Vegas. And oh my goodness, you'll be happy to know, Lincoln and Kodi, that I saw Madonna Saturday night. Oh, it was so much more. I mean, I knew, I've watched clips, I've heard you talk about the show. It was so much more than I thought. It was like a Broadway theater show of her life.
Much better, I think.
And
I think it was better than a Broadway show.
Well, that's the thing. We were talking later and we were like, someday if somebody was going to do a Broadway musical of her life, it would be like, well, good luck trying, because she already kind of did it for you when she did the Celebration tour, and good luck triumphing that, because it was emotional. It was all the hits from throughout the years, the storyline, the sets. She sounded amazing, like you had said, Lincoln, but also the camaraderie that was around my area was just so beautiful. People showing up in old school Madonna, every phase that she's ever been in, and everybody was just like children because we were super excited, screaming out, singing the lyrics back to her. She was fun, sassy. I mean, it was just brilliant. I mean, we were beaming after the show, throughout the show. It's that good. And she's here in LA now, and I'm like, do I need to see her again? I mean,
that's why I went over and over again, because it's that good.
Oh my goodness.
It's
addictive, I guess, right?
Yeah. Really good. I'm just glad I saw it, though. And I mean, and Bob the Drag Queen really rounds it out as sort of the MC, and her dancers that she surrounds herself with are brilliant. The sets, I mean, and she's flying above our heads, and I just think, my goodness, so good. And Lincoln, I did look for your rosary and they didn't have it. I'm sorry.
Oh no, fail.
I know. I'm so sorry, but I did look and they didn't have them there. They were like, what? No, we don't have those. So I was like, shoot.
Well, thanks for trying.
Yeah, no, I was, but couldn't say enough about the show. Just so happy for anyone that's still going to see it. And I hope they film it, because wouldn't that be great to see it?
Oh, they will.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah. It definitely seems very filmable.
Yes. I see it at the Fountain Blue in Vegas, and I can't highly recommend that enough. It's really like non-Vegas-y, but still has the Vegas charm, and great restaurants and bars in there. So really fun time and a whirlwind, and I'm so happy. So yay.
That's great.
Yeah.
Was Simone at yours? Because I saw that Simone the drag queen was...
Yeah, she uses a lot of Drag Race fans, but in our show, no. That was Friday night that Simone did.
Okay.
And so, I forget.
But in Vegas, though.
In Vegas, right. She did Friday, Saturday, and the T-Mobile Center is awesome, and we did the expedited check-in and just kind of went almost backstage, got into our area, and it was like, we were good to go. I mean, it was so much fun. Really, really fun. So
it's a really monumental show. It's very her. That's what I love about it.
Yes.
The choreography is very Madonna, the storyline, and she looks and sounds great. It's great.
She looks and sounds great. And one of the things that's been going around this viral moment that she has been saying, she says, a lot of you have been talking trash about me, she says. And she says, when you bitches try to drag me about my age, she says in a recent clip, I'll see you when you're 65. Let's just see how you're doing. And I'm like, yeah, thank you very much. I mean, really, it's like, we don't all age the same way, and that's why RuPaul has a brand new memoir coming out soon, and he was recently being interviewed by Ronan Farrow for, I believe it was a huge article talking about the book. But did he throw a little shade to Madonna when said that, he's 63 and he was saying he's thinking a lot about aging gracefully in the spotlight, is what he was saying. And he's been comparing himself to another star, Madonna, who he said was in aging, there is a natural flow, he opines. And when you're against the flow, it doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. The energy around the Madonna thing, it feels weird, right? Ruad's referring to her, quote, chasing arena tours and grills in her teeth. And I just think it's like we all age differently. And why do you got to throw her under the bus? Because we were talking about it because in Vegas, there is the huge sphere. It's that huge dome that's just like an eyeball. You probably all heard about it. U2's been performing in there, and they're going to get other acts like the Eagles potentially. I could see the Police. And these are all old timers. Grateful Dead, I think, is next. Certainly not young. They can go on tour and nobody says a thing, but a woman does, who's 65, who's dancing and being held up in the air practically. It's like it. He says it looks weird, and that's coming from someone from our community. So, Kodi, you're such a RuPaul fan. What do you hear when you hear the shade of it all?
Yeah, RuPaul is definitely off the mark on this one because, like you said, everybody ages in a different way. And RuPaul, I love him to death. And
Me too,
but he's doing his thing with RuPaul's Drag Race. But every time he comes out to perform, it's just a two-step. It's not anything crazy. It's just like, Grandma don't want to break a hip. It's all the things. So, but for Madonna to be doing this as at her beautiful age, and I'm half her age, and I can't even do any of the things that she's doing. It's just amazing, and it's stellar, and I hope she continues to do it. She's entertaining huge audiences and giving us our life, and I'm here for it.
Love it. Lincoln, can you fact check that he's half her age? Because I'm not sure that's quite right. I get your point. I love your point. Lincoln, when you hear this, I mean, I pretty much know how you feel, but,
I don't know if you do or not. It sounds like he hasn't seen the show.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Shame.
Right.
And for someone who's supposed to be all full of love and light, he's missing the mark. There's two big themes to the Celebration tour. One is that her most controversial thing is that she's stuck around, and that her biggest sin is that she's aging.
Right.
She says it literally in the show more than once. And he just proves that point. It also sounds, he's kind of a mediocre star. It sounds like he wants to be as big as her. So good for him. I mean, he's always been very nice to me whenever I've seen him in person, and he stopped by the bakery twice, and he seemed very, other than looking like Voldemort, he seems like a nice person.
Oh my goodness.
You don't need to go there over someone who has been around a lot longer than you. And if you watch the Celebration tour, she really points forward on what she's done for our community. Really? And she hasn't trashed it and made us a bunch of girls walking around in makeup. She's actually been there for when we were dying.
Yes, in one of the best moments when she sings Live to Tell, and it's an homage to all the people we've lost, including people like Keith Haring and major, but also it ends up showing so many people that we've lost to. And at one beautiful moment in the Celebration tour during Live to Tell, and as you're flashing all of these people that we've lost, tears were flowing down my face. And we had just been talking earlier to these lovely ladies that were right behind us. They were so fun, from Salt Lake City, or Utah, actually. And one of them, she just put her hand on my shoulder just to let me know that, it's okay. And that was such a beautiful moment.
Awesome.
It touched me like that. And, because of course I was trying to wipe the tears out of my face like so quickly. And she was there for me, and that was so sweet. So
that is sweet. Did you hear what the snafu as far as Madonna was concerned, that she showed Luther Vandross's picture in that homage too?
But one night.
They were saying that she basically outed him as HIV positive. We don't know if that's true or not, so this is all alleged. But it just goes to show that we're all human. RuPaul's human, Madonna's human, and we all can make mistakes. So
No, it was reported that Luther Vandross died of AIDS, but the estate does not agree with that assessment. That's what happened, and it was up on her tour for a while until the estate asked her to bring it down.
And she
So
did.
it was reported that that's how he died, but the estate does not agree with that report, and that's why it got pulled down.
That's not what I had
maybe
heard.
her team
So,
could have did a better job earlier.
Her team could have done a better job
but they definitely rectified it immediately. So I hear your point, Cody. But yeah, I get it.
And she didn't fall down. She was dropped. And when she dropped, she
you.
started laughing because it was a mistake. She was being slid on a chair. She didn't fall down. And whenever you're elevated more than 6 feet, you have to be locked onto something. So it's not a bar for crippled old people. She's simply holding on to the support beam that flies her all over the stage. But
oh my God.
Again, most controversial thing she's ever done is stick around. And her biggest sin is getting old. So good luck for everyone else who doesn't get that.
Love it, love it. We've got to move on because a British man who worked for British Airlines he's 44. He's being tortured in Qatar, in a Qatar jail after he went on Grindr and police targeted him, and he's now in jail. And I'm talking about former British Airways manager Manuel Guerrero, who is being tortured in jail after being held for responding to a fake message on Grindr. And it's being reported that it was the police that targeted him. He's also HIV positive and is not getting the medication that he needs. And he's both British and Mexican. He has both citizenships in both of those. He's been there for work, and he simply went on the site and believed that some guys were going to get together, and now he's being tortured, and it's really awful. Cody, you saw this story earlier, and when you hear stories like this, my God, it's so scary. I mean, both the Mexican government and Britain are working on getting him released, but it's not looking good right now. And just to hear that he's not getting his medication is really awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no one should be treated in this fashion, and it makes me really scary to travel to these places and for the possibility of being persecuted for who I am. So I just think it's really scary, and people need to be as careful as they can when they visit the places that these things are happening in.
Yeah, Lincoln, on our other show, Of a Certain Age, Cody and I were talking to a travel expert who we were asking him, do you go to places that you know are against our community, or do you find the fine line and you just do your research? And he was kind of up in the air because he said a lot of our community is like, no way, I would never go to a place that is anti-LGBTQ plus. Others don't have a choice. It sounds like this guy was there for work. Where do you weigh in on this? And I mean, it's just awful any way you dice it.
It is awful. And no, I wouldn't go anywhere near. It's funny that this is coming up as one of our topics tonight, because we haven't traveled outside of the US since Bear Week, Sitges, Spain, 2019. That's the last time Peter and I were out. And the reason we haven't is I had surgeries and there was a pandemic, and then my mom passed, and, there's just priorities that take over. And now we can't travel because of Salty Pretzel and her medication. She needs it every, 8 hours, and she's so happy, but she still needs it. And I was thinking lately, like, well, when we do start traveling again, where will we go? And for my comfort level, I will probably go to places I've been before, like Sitges in Spain, like Berlin, maybe London. I've always wanted to go to Italy, and I would probably go where my family's from. I've never been to Italy. It's very embarrassing. But no, I'm not going to Jamaica or Russia or to, like Turkey and all the places that are like
Russia, girl.
Not in this day and age. I mean, look at Britney Grindr and her pot stick. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's too volatile, especially with everything going on in our own politics. Yeah. So, and I do caution people that I think we don't understand it. It's like
Right.
gays for Palestine, or, like, how do you say that when the Hamas would kill anything remotely homosexual? It's such a mess, and every heartbeat has the same value in principle. Totally. That's just
Right.
the truth. But you don't know the circumstances around that heartbeat in a given area. And that's just scary. Safer
Yeah.
than sorry. You know what I mean? But to go to that place and then get really mad. I mean, if you have to be there for work or if you have to be there, but to have it happen like it's unexpected seems like a very American mindset to have in a foreign country.
Right. Yeah, I know. Just do your research, I think, and we will continue because we really need Manuel Guerrero to not only get out of being tortured in Qatar, but also to at least get his medication
Yeah.
because he's living with HIV and, without that, that's what's keeping him alive. So, um, we will continue to report on that. And somebody that is trying to fight HIV, we've actually had him on the show, episode 462. I'm talking about Tristan Schukraft of Mistr. Mistr, you may or may not know, is the online platform that can get you PrEP with or without insurance. And there's many reasons why he's on a mission to reach zero HIV infections if we expand access to PrEP. And he I didn't know this, but he also lives here in LA, but he bought the Abbey, the infamous Abbey from
Oh,
David
wow.
Cooley. I know, right? So that's really interesting. He's in a current interview on LGBTQ Nation, and he was in the other place I love to visit and often find myself living, Puerto Vallarta. And he was talking about Mr. and the access. And there's some stats that really are alarming because a lot of people really aren't getting it. They're not, there's such low numbers of people that are not on PrEP. And he says that people are going to do what they're going to do. Our STI positivity rate is around 9 to 10%, and which is good, but he through his testing and what he's trying to do with PrEP, and the interesting thing about it too is you can also get tested in Mr. for your STIs as well. So
Oh, good.
it's yeah, right. So I think he's doing a really good thing. He says that but the amount of people that are really getting PrEP is so low, and so that's why he's on this major mission. I mean, Lincoln, I mean, what are your thoughts of his mission? And I know most people can get it from their doctor, but he's providing this service that anyone can get it if you don't even have insurance or you're not comfortable talking to your general practitioner.
Well, I think it's like so many other drugs right now on the market. I mean, you could go to the local mall and get Manjaro or Ozempic and lose 30 pounds. You can go, without a blood test. So I'm kind of happy that it's becoming so standardized that you're getting HIV stuff just like you're getting weight loss stuff, or you're getting, as long as it's affordable and people are taking care of themselves and they're also remembering that taking any drug, especially with pill form, can have effect on your organs, and it's also not 100% safe. So it's not 100% for HIV, even though it's very close, right? Am I
Right.
right? Tell me
Yes,
if
it's
I'm wrong.
90,
Okay. And it doesn't
99.
protect you against everything else.
No, it
And
doesn't.
if
And
you've
that
had a wart or a pus or something else happen in your life, it's not enjoyable. So just be careful.
yes, exactly. I mean, Kodi, when the
Or a
CDC,
crab or that's
all
all
of
that came to
them,
mind when I did, just,
yeah,
yeah, all of
any of
them.
those things that you don't want is
Right.
Yeah.
yes. The CDC, Kodi, says that nationally, 11% of Blacks and 21% of Latinos are utilizing PrEP. Tristan's got his work cut out for him. I mean, these are really low numbers. And we're about to do another story in a minute that shows that many of them are not even using condoms either. So if they're not using condoms and they're not on PrEP, we're putting ourselves at risk.
What are we doing? Those numbers should be much, much higher.
Yeah.
I'm glad Tristan is doing what he's doing as far as getting the word out on PrEP, but we need to be going to these underprivileged communities and making sure that the the verbiage and the mission statement as far as getting covered and on PrEP and protecting yourselves and doing all the things you need to do to make sure that you're healthy. We need to make sure that this is happening. So those numbers are way too low, and it really disappoints me. Wow. Go ahead.
I'm also going to say that I don't, I assume with those numbers, until I just thought my thought, that everyone is sober and responsible and taking care of themselves. The drug world in the gay world has an effect on the HIV world. And if you have a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction, or there's a lot of things in those drugs that are not the drugs people were doing in the early 2000s or the 90s or the 80s, and you're not in your right mind. And and that's what makes me nervous more than anything, is the lack of self-care in recovery or in the program or that kind of thing that seems to be also happening in our community. And I think they're very parallel in HIV rates and not taking PrEP like you're supposed to take it. Like you have to take it every day, or you have to get the injection that lasts a certain amount of time, and then you have to take another injection so it doesn't wear out. So if you're dealing with the party circuit or any of that stuff, I think that has an effect on those numbers as well. It's not as clean and dry as just like PrEP or not PrEP, is my point.
Yeah, it's a great point to make. I mean, we say it on our show all the time that we're a really young community in general, and we haven't figured it out. And sometimes our people glorify our community and saying, "Oh, it'd be great to be gay," and it is great to be gay. I'm happy to be gay, but we haven't had a lot of rights, and we haven't had the whole 80s and 90s were many of us from a sex positive standpoint living in fear. And so it's only been recent, but with that is, we're not perfect either. We fall prey to, drug and alcohol abuse and many other things too. So I always remind people that we're really young. And
can I throw one more thing out there?
Yeah.
You're going to kill me. I was just watching an interview with, what's the Fran
Leibowitz?
Yeah,
she's my neighbor.
She was right. And she said this thing that really busted open my mind. And I always love when that happens. She said, we talk a lot about all the creative artists that we lost because of the AIDS epidemic, right? You've heard that a million times over, right? All the creative artists that we've lost. And Steve, you just made the comment that we're a very young community. Well, she made this point that, we lost the artists, but more importantly, we lost the community that was appreciating the artists. It wasn't just about those particular people that were the artists of the time. It's that we lost the entire audience that was watching them as well, which has more of an effect on the community than just that one person that was the artist. Isn't that a great, it was to me at least.
Yeah, because it's wiping out an entire that knew the art, and those are the storytellers that are going to educate us about these amazing artists. And if they're wiped out, who are our storytellers that history proliferates? And so, I'll knock on her door. She's down the hall from me and tell her that you like
say hi. Bring her on the show. Go for
it. She was on Julia Louis-Dreyfus's podcast recently, which is really good, by the way, where Julia interviews all older women and the knowledge they impart. And I love that episode. And every time I see her, I want to tell her, I loved you on that podcast episode. But she doesn't want anything to do with me. So anyway, okay. Moving on to, do you guys shower just before a hookup? Or is washing earlier in that day okay? And it was a recent conversation that got everybody on two different sides. The guy that posted it on the thread where it went viral said, is it unreasonable to ask for a shower pre-hookup? Well, accompanying the question, there were screenshots of a Grindr hookup where someone said, can we both hit the showers before hanging out? In which the person replied, I took a shower this morning, with a smiley face. Well, the other one said, well, how do the pits smell? Give them a little whiff. And the other guy laughed, and the other said, what's the verdict? And he says, they're not bad, but if I take a shower, I'm not going to want to go out tonight. Or would you rather a different day when I can come over ready and have to, be ready for you? And the guy doubled down on it. Like he really wanted this guy to shower. Is he being too much in asking you to shower before? I was thinking about it before, and every time I've ever met somebody like that on a quick hookup thing like that, we both say, shower. Yeah, me too. I'm jumping in. And, but there's been other times where I've had great hookups post beach or something where none of us were really thinking about it. And I don't think many people are that dirty. If you're that hot and heavy for somebody, sometimes you even want some of those smells. Kodi, how do you weigh in on this? Is it a requirement for somebody to be squeaky clean or not?
I, Well, I don't think it's a requirement, but I do agree that if the smell is overwhelming, then we need to do something about that. We can go take a shower. I can leave, but I do think that at a certain point, the man smell, it becomes too much. So a little man musk is very sexy. I don't always shower before I hook up. So, but I do think that cleanliness and hygiene is paramount when it comes to having sex. You don't. I get a little grossed out when I smell something I shouldn't be smelling. So, and that makes my dick go completely limp.
I agree with you too. And I think for hookups, it's so easy to just jump in the shower really quickly. And I just feel like that was proper protocol, if you will. But people often meet people in other situations where you're not freshly out of the shower. And if you're, in my mind, if you're hot and heavy, it's like you get what you get here. And I mean, hopefully they did shower
True.
that morning. And so that should be okay, provided they didn't like do this massive, work worked on a house or something like that, or in a mine.
Or
How do you
came
weigh
from
in
one of
on this?
Lincoln's classes.
Some people might like
Well,
that.
first of all, I think certain bars in our city stink. And you know
It's
what
New
bar I'm
York,
talking
right?
about. Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Like,
yes, I
can
know what you mean. Yeah.
anybody take a shower? And I am not into that at all. Peter does walk around with the pride of always being porn star ready, and we are shower people. So even though you're right, in a situation, if something's really hot, it's not like, oh no, this isn't going to work because you haven't showered. But at the same time, if it's like, you should have showered, then it's going to ruin the hookup anyway. So there's a balance
Right.
to be
And I
had.
think based on what the way this was going in their communication, I think if both parties, the rule I think should be if both parties are at their respective houses, that just take a shower. I mean, it's not that hard. And if you're going to fall asleep or you're going to fall asleep during sex, I mean, it takes that much. If you take a shower, I would move on. But I also think if you meet somebody out and about, it's like, just get into it, I mean, it's not that serious. So that's how I win. Okay. Brush your teeth though. That's an important one, I think.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The taste be tasting on some of these people. And it is an immediate no if the breath is bad. So
Yeah.
that is the one.
Right. Let's stay with the naked body for a second because Bradley Cooper, who is nominated for an Academy Award, by the way, I'm making my way to most of the films. There's some really good films. Lincoln, are you watching a lot of the films? Are you making your way for most of the best?
I'm a voter for the SAG
Oh,
Awards, so I've
okay.
seen them all.
So good. I
Except
think
for Past Lives, which got shut out by the Screen Actors Guild, which I really irritated the hell out of me. But yeah, I've seen almost everything.
okay, yeah, there's some really Anatomy of a Fall. I highly recommend that one. I hope she wins. But anyway, also nominated is Bradley Cooper for for Maestro. Hello, Salty Pretzel. He's nominated for.
I put it on mute because she's going a little nuts, so I don't want to overtake the podcast. It's okay.
Got it. He's nominated for Maestro, and he was recently on the Dax Shepard podcast, Armchair Expert, and they were talking about the film being Oscar nominated, but somehow they went into the bathroom, and both of them have children. Both of them are comfortable sitting on the toilet with their children coming in. Some of them are even comfortable being naked around their kids. It brings up the question too, like, what did you grow up with? Well, Bradley says he grew up with his dad in particular being in the buff around him all the time. I have a friend that says he grew up with both of his parents naked all of the time. And it says, is this a nurture thing that you grow up wanting to be naked? I say no, because I actually grew up with my parents always clothed. I didn't know what they looked like naked. It was almost more on the prudish side. But cut to me today, and I'm at that naked beach all the time come summertime, and super comfortable being naked. I don't really walk around my apartment naked that much. And I don't sleep naked. I need underwear on. But Lincoln, are you comfortable? Like, did you grow up with parents that there was a lot of nudity
No,
around?
no,
Okay.
I didn't grow up in a naked house at all. And everyone was pretty conservative after a certain, I mean, when I was a little kid. No, I didn't grow up in a naked house at all. At home, I don't like to eat naked. So I always have like
Yeah.
underwear or a tank top on. I think eating naked is weird. It's like eating in the pitch in the dark. I always need a light on and a shirt to eat. But then when I watch a movie, I'll turn out the lights and focus on the film. I
And
like
get
to be
naked.
naked in California, outside and around the house to a degree. But when
Nice.
it comes to kids, I like the concept of not shaming nudity, but also being
Right.
appropriate with nudity. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to be shamed or, oh my God, how dare you? But at the same time, like seeing my mother naked is something I might have seen a few times by accident.
But it
Do
wasn't
you know what I
traumatic.
mean? It
Yeah.
wasn't traumatic, but it was like, it was funny more than it was more humor more than anything else.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
do sleep naked
You
and
sleep
with
naked.
one foot out. I
Okay.
need one
Oh,
foot
okay.
out of the sheet. I'm an extremely complicated sleeping person. I need a thin pillow between my knees, another pillow under my left arm. I have a mouth guard, earplugs, and I'm wrapped up in a sheet like a burrito, but there's one foot sticking out.
Oh my God. It
Wow.
reminds That's so funny because we've had this Will of tantricfitness.com on our show, Tags Live, before. And he was just on the Vakaya Caribbean cruise with me. And he says, oh my God, I'm so complicated when I sleep. I brought my flannel sheets. I don't pack. Half everything that's in my luggage is my sleeping gear. And he cannot sleep without
Wow.
flannel sheets. He goes everywhere with them. I'm like, flannel? Really? That's an interesting choice because while I don't mind them, I don't want them in the summertime because it's like too
Yeah.
hot. He has this teddy bear he travels with him. He has to have it. He has a pillow that's
Oh.
for the middle of his knees for like his back and that kind of thing to kind of align him out. And I'm like, Lord. And he said he's had some issues with some boyfriends before where they're like, I don't know, this is too much. He said some of them were like, I swear they wanted to break up with me because of all this, but they get into it.
We're literally sleep number people too. So we have a sleep number mattress in California and we have one in New York because I sleep at like a 95
Okay.
and Peter sleeps at like a 20.
Oh, wow.
So when we
Okay.
cuddle, my side of the bed is hard and his is so soft that it's like to his
You
side of the
fall
bed.
right into it.
And because of, I don't know how much I've talked about it, but I've had a few hip replacements in my life. If those hips are off and the pillow's not where it's supposed to be, I get up and I'm like walking
Yeah.
crooked.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
Oh
so funny
wow.
how we all conduct ourselves. And I love when I hear stories about how people sleep and what's important to them and how they walk around the house. I mean, this is how we spend most of our time when we're by ourselves like that. And I love getting a little window into that. I mean, Kodi, did you grow up with parents that were naked? And how do you sleep since we're on that topic?
I know, right? uh, I did not grow up in a naked house either. My mom was always fully clothed. I think I've seen her naked one time in my entire life. Half Madonna's age, and it was strange to me. And but in my adulthood, I find that I love to be naked. I've gone to the naked beach with you, and it was so liberating and wonderful. I love to be naked in the house. It is my favorite thing in the world. I sleep naked. I cook naked. I don't eat naked. So I definitely am with you on that.
Put some underwear
But
on.
I know, right? I actually have this like moo so it feels like I'm
Oh
naked,
my God.
but
that's
but I had
hilarious.
I also I do sleep naked, and I don't. have any naked sleep twister type deals. I don't have to have one leg on red and my hand on blue over here. I don't have any of that.
It's funny.
So I mean, I just pretty much roll around in bed all day, but naked. So that's another thing. But yeah, I think Bradley Cooper saying this and kind of normalizing nakedness is very liberating for a lot of people. I personally couldn't be naked around kids. I think that would be a little bit strange to me. So when I do have kids, I have to cut back on my naked time. So lock the door and get my jollies on my own time in my own room. So yeah, get them kids out of here.
Yeah, probably being naked and seeing maybe your parents probably shouldn't be a traumatic thing at all. But I remember coming home from college one year and opening the door and catching my parents in the middle of it. I can't even say the word.
That's happened for me too.
Oh, and
It
that
was
to me was
It's a
traumatic.
sex podcast. Say the words.
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
It's his parents. No,
It was my
It's
parents.
fine. It's called
And
sex. You wouldn't have been here if they didn't know how to do that.
I know, but we just la 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 la, and I was like, oh, talk about trauma. And I know too much. You too, Kodi?
Oh yeah. So it happened one time and I will never forget it. It's like burned in my no place memory. I could not. I ran out of that room so fast.
Is that because it was your parents or because it was straight sex and not gay sex?
Parents.
Probably
It's a
a
good
little
question
bit
though,
of
right?
right? Yeah,
great
definitely.
I
question.
think it's a good question because
I
that
think it's so weird too because I don't think I would be like it anybody walking into me having sex, and I say that when I go to sex positive cruise bars and inevitably or the red light district on the Bacaya cruise, and I don't mind it at this point now if a group of people come by and are watching me getting pounded or I'm pounding somebody, but it's maybe I don't do really well with surprise, so somebody could come behind my shoulder and tap me and I would jump. I'm really jumpy. And so it's more the element of being shocked or surprised more so than being caught, I think. But which is, yeah, no rhyme or reason. I don't know why that's my makeup, but it is. So.
I love it when people watch. It's my favorite thing. And you can come tap me on the shoulder, put your dick in my mouth. I love all of that.
It's fun.
Yeah, I've evolved to that. And it's once you get over that hump, it's very liberating and you really can just focus on what you're doing. And people are around there and it's like, yeah, I don't care. But it took me a while to get there. In my 20s, I would have been freaked out about that. But thank God for my 50s and the goodness. Yes. So there's some really good things about aging, everybody. We love to give some advice here. And somebody recently on a thread wrote, how to not compare yourself with other guys. How can you genuinely not compare yourself to other guys? Here's the thing. I'm 36. And in fact, I've never had a good relationship with my appearance. And although it improved a lot in recent years, I always consider myself an average guy in all aspects, but something I've never been able to get rid of is the feeling of comparing myself to other guys. I compare myself way too much to other guys. I always find something in others that makes me diminish myself. And I know this sounds silly and it shouldn't be because it's a lot of people have this, but he goes on about his self-esteem, and I actually feel for this guy and have been victim before in those 20s that I was just speaking about. Social media does this a lot. I don't spend a lot of time scrolling a lot on Instagram. I often get inspired by what I see on there too. So it can be a really good thing. And I think that's where I'm at now. But it's also because I don't scroll a lot because I could in the past scroll so much that I'm comparing myself. One minute I want to be big and hulky, and then I'll see somebody that's lean and mean. I'm like, no, I want to be that way. And it's like, well, you just said you wanted to be like Hulk. You can't be both. And it's like this incessant need to compare yourself. Have you ever fallen prey to what this person is saying, Lincoln?
Of course, it's human.
Right.
And to deny it or pretend like you're going to be
cured of it,
not part of it, or it's not going to somehow happen will keep you in it and I think make it worse. And I kind of deduced that before social media. So I was in San Francisco in the late 80s, early 90s, and I was 82 pounds heavier, and I lost all my weight, and I thought that would give me self-esteem. And it did make me more confident because I wasn't hiding behind the weight anymore. But
Sure.
then I moved to New York in 96, and I met people that were like, you're not muscular enough.
Yeah.
So I lost all the weight, and then I was small, and then I wasn't big enough, but I wasn't big enough the right way.
Ugh.
And I had a splash bartender as a boyfriend. So you can put all that down as just killing your self-esteem. And that was before social media. So it's going to happen, especially in the gay world, in any world though, straight, gay, women, with kids, it's just jealousy in human nature. So I think if you identify it,
Yes.
and realize it's there, and then see how you can manipulate your life and do the things that make it better and more copable, like meditating, like taking care of yourself, like realizing, if you're 6'4", you're never going to be 5'2".
Right. I 100% agree
So
with
stop
you.
pretending.
One of the things that often happens with age is you do learn to process a lot of this better. And you could do all the work on yourself, but one of the great things about it is you recognize that. So let's just say it's that comparing yourself. It could be jealousy, but one of the tactics I've used is to hear it come through. It's like, okay, you're feeling that emotion of jealousy right now, or you're feeling that comparison things, but now I can process that you're going there. Where when I was younger, I didn't have that moment of recognize and let it just go through you and start to move on. It was just, I felt that emotion, and it was very crippling at times. And yeah,
I know Cody's going to speak, but just a great game or a tool, not a game, a tool that I've been given is it a feeling or is it a fact? And
that's a great one.
differentiate between feeling and fact. And if you're going down this road and it's that you feel you should look a certain way and that you don't, what's the fact? The fact is you look the way you do look. You're the best you that you can be, and no one can be like you. Otherwise, they would be them. So let it
Right.
go. Easier said than done, but
That's a great
feeling
tool.
or
And
fact?
yeah,
Feeling or
right.
fact? I use that a lot.
Yeah, that's a great one. And I love that. Cody, do you relate to any of the things that the Redditor was saying about comparing? And have you fallen prey to that?
No, I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
And you're
This
half
is
Madonna's age too.
so
So
new to
He's
me.
not half her age. We have to just let that go right now. That would make her 80. So no. Men of a
Not
certain
the.
age. How old are you? Men of
I'm
a
not,
certain age. How
I'm
old are
not
you?
saying I am mysterious and young, darling,
can we just say that you're not
forever
half
young.
her age, and then
You're
we'll leave it
not
at
have
that?
you've said it
I am
18
not.
times,
I'm
and if
not
you're
half her age.
25, you look horrible. No. And if you're 80, you look great. So let's
Yeah.
just keep it there.
You're
Well,
somewhere
I do look
between
great for my
25 and
age.
80. How's that? You're somewhere between
That's
25 and
perfect.
80. Yeah.
Yes, Madonna is 160. So there you go.
Yeah.
So yes, definitely. Like Lincoln said, this is a human condition. This is something that we all experience at some point in time. You're going to look at other people and automatically your mind is going to say they point out what you think that they have better than you, and that is a pitfall that we all fall into. Uh, I love what you guys were saying about feeling the emotion and letting it pass through you, because the more that you deny that emotion, for me personally, it just comes right back up for me. So I think
Yeah.
letting it run through you, feeling your feelings, and like Lincoln said, and acknowledging that facts are not feelings, that is a great mantra to have in your mind. But something that wasn't mentioned and that really works for me personally is building yourself up in those moments that you aren't necessarily having those doubts about yourself, because constantly telling yourself that you're beautiful, that, oh my God, look at you, you look half Madonna's age, it's so fantastic and fabulous, and just building yourself up personally, it makes running into those pitfalls a lot easier to get out of, for me.
One more thing. The only thing I will say that, just to be clear, I think throughout the decades, because we're gay, there's already we're not
Lance.
normal.
Yeah.
And if back in the day when everyone in Hollywood was white and all the directors were white and all that was, then that's also another shade of I am less than. I am less than because I'm gay. I am less than because I'm a woman. I am less than, right? So that also, even though it's human, I do think that that adds to our mental deficit, which is not true. But because it's so common, it feels more real than it should.
Society definitely reinforces.
And then social media. Hello. Wow.
Well, I was going to say social media, my God, if you find yourself prey to that, which all of us are, it can be a great thing, and it can be a motivational. I'm like motivated by various things, not just like body and looks, but careers and my icons that I follow, and it's just motivating. Or I'm just happy for my friends and icons that I'm following, and it's just a beautiful thing. Or I learn about, I didn't know they were doing this. This is awesome. But if you scroll, it can be a comparison analysis. And right now, we really have to get our mental health in order as a community, as just individuals in general, because you've got to, that's a great tool. Both of you have said you got to check in with yourself on a daily basis too. More than ever, I think. And
meditate. Just silence your mind. 5 minutes every morning, 5 minutes every night. It helps to decipher what's the truth.
Yeah, right. That and gratitude, I think, is another really great one too. That works for me.
1,000,000%.
And yeah, who are we? Oh my gosh, I love this. This has been so much fun. Great time with you guys. I love looking at your faces. This will be great. We'll show it on some of our social media if that's okay with you guys. Okay, great.
Yay.
You can always follow my co-host. You got to ask, right? You can follow Lincoln at Protein Bakery at Protein.
We just hit 16K followers.
Congratulations!
Yay! Yeah, thank you. So that was really exciting.
Yes.
So everyone follow. The bakery's doing great.
Breakfast
or Mad Lincoln if you want to follow me personally.
Yep. Mad Lincoln.
Oh, and just a little salty pretzel update. She's such a strong little girl, and if you want to follow her, it's Salty Pretzel NYC on Instagram. She's on a lot of medication. Not sure how much longer we're going to have her, but she is a trooper and she's doing great. So,
and if we could put that good energy out there and follow her,
send her love and all that. And the photos on Instagram are super cute of her.
Follow Kodi. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching, or on his personal account at Mr. Maurice. Mr. Maurice. Kodi and I are live this Wednesday with Tags Live, 6 o'clock Pacific, which is where I will be at 9 o'clock Eastern time over there on the East Coast or wherever you watch the show. And follow me. I am _Steve V, or my new OnlyFans, onlyfans.com/sexy poppy Steve V. And in the meantime, continue having hot gay sex.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
Bye.